Welcome to Moxie Bets, presented by Caesar Sportsbook. I'm your host, Katie Mox. Coming up on today's show, the ALCS starts tonight between the Yankees and the Astros. We'll preview some baseball, including the NLCS between the Phillies and the Padres, which is already underway. Plus, the NBA kicked off last night. Let's go Warriors. So we'll give you some NBA futures picks to think about as we start this season here, and we'll preview Thursday Night Football, another barn burner. And you know it, we've got some Mox Locks coming your way. But before we get started, let's welcome in KBB. Kenny bets big on a Wednesday. Kenny, how's it going?
Not too bad, Katie. Been, over the last couple of weeks, I've been struggling a little bit with the betting. It's just been winning, losing. It's been a grind. Yeah. It can't always be a fun ride, but looking to get back on the winning side. So let's get to it.
Let's get to it. Actually, both Kenny and I are exhausted today. For some reason, we decided to stay up to watch the Warriors and the Lakers game. I didn't even bet on it. I'm just a Warriors fan. They were up by 20, but for some reason, I decided to stay up until 1:30 a.m. And I heard you got a backdoor cover, right? You took the Lakers on a live line plus 21 and a half or something?
No, I wish it was 21 and a half. That would have been easy. I grabbed them at plus 14 and a half with some point in the fourth quarter, and they were down 17 with 30 seconds left, and the guy hit the three. You got to love when that one happens, right? It doesn't always go your way, but when they do, it feels good.
It does. All right, let's get into the Mox thought. The ALCS, the Yankees beat the Guardians last night 5-1 in a winner-takes-all game to advance to the ALCS, and now they will face off against the Astros tonight. I was excited because I hit both of my bets last night, Kenny. I took the Yankees in the first 3 innings, which I didn't even notice that they started doing that maybe until this year, that you could take the first 3, but I feel like in these winner-take-all scenarios, if you just want to bet on the starting pitcher, the first 3 is great because everyone is on such a short leash. And then I faded Nestor Cortez under the 4.5. I didn't think he would last as long as he did. He ended up only having 2 strikeouts. So that hit, but that got me a little nervous because he was pitching well. And he did pitch longer than I thought he was going to. How'd you feel about the game last night as a Mets fan?
I mean, I guess New York is still New York, the Yankees city, right?
Yeah.
That take did not age well for me. I was kind of excited because I did really want to see the Yankees-Astros series, all the tension and the hate between the fans. I think it's going to be a really fun series to watch for baseball, especially since on the other side, we didn't get the Mets, we didn't get the Dodgers. Phillies look great, but Phillies-Padres, who really wanted to watch that series? Not too many people, I don't think. So happy to see the Yankees advance just because of, viewership. But as a Mets fan, it hurts. It hurts.
It hurts. All right. Well, what do you think about this series then? I like the Yankees. I feel like the Yankees were hot in the beginning of the season. Then they dipped a little bit. People were losing faith, but I do feel like that game 3 when they totally lost it in the second half of the game, that kind of just woke them up. The bats are hot again. The bullpen's been doing well again. I think they stand a chance against these Astros.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely stand a chance, right? One of the best offenses in baseball. Verlander, he's been struggling as of late. So maybe you get, a little lower level of what Verlander typically is. And, obviously this doesn't really have anything in the way things play out, but you look at what Mattress Mac has on the line. He's got $10 million to win $75 million if the Astros win the World Series. Would be hands down the biggest future bet ever cashed in Vegas. So we all know that.
I mean, I don't even understand how he still has money.
What was that?
I don't even understand how he still has money with the way that he's been betting.
Right. It's the curse of Mattress Mac. The guy never wins. I think the Yankees definitely have a chance in this series. Game 1 is going to be tough just because of is there that emotional hangover from the big win yesterday and quick turnaround?
Well, they're up against Verlander tonight, right? He's pitching.
Yeah, I believe he's going on the mound for the Astros. So it is a quick turnaround, tough game. If you want to bet the Yankees, I would probably wait for after this game because if they go down 1-0 in the series, you'll get a much better price on the Yankees. So, if you want to take a future on them, I would wait till after today.
That's good. I mean, they're already at plus money right now, but I do think that maybe that'll dip over 200, plus 200. So I like that as well. And I do think that the Yankees are going to win this series. I'm also just kind of high on the Yankees in general, as I've been all season. All right, moving on to the NLCS, the Phillies and the Padres. I don't really care about this series at all. I'm just going to go ahead and say that when the Mets were out and then the Dodgers were out, I don't really care too much about the Phillies or the Padres. However, if I had to lean away, I would take Phillies minus 190, just the way that they've been playing. I think they have the edge here, certainly have more power, but I don't know. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I like the Phillies a lot here. They kind of remind me of the Nationals team a few years ago that went on to win the World Series, where, they were kind of struggling to start the season. They were, a ton of games back at one point in that season, and they rallied towards the end, grabbed the wild card spot, and just got hot at the right time. And that's literally what the Phillies seem to be doing here.
Yeah.
All season long, we've heard about how they were underperforming. They have one of the best offenses in baseball on paper,
Yeah.
but they weren't, the results weren't there. And now we're starting to see those results. Bryce Harper's back. He's healthy. What a difference that guy makes. He's, as big of a superstar as he is, I still think he's one of the most underrated players in baseball. He's so talented and he doesn't get the credit for it. So yeah, I like the Phillies a lot here. And how awesome would it be if we get a Phillies-Yankees World Series?
Yeah.
Right? The Phillies
So
fans
close.
crazy,
Yep.
Yankees fans crazy, how close the two cities are. It would be chaos at those games. So that's what I'm hoping to see, at least.
Yeah, you're right. That would be electric. I'm hoping to see that as well. Plus, I don't know if you saw that video of those like old Padres fans that were like, "This is in," or I was like, okay, the Padres may never win another game, and I kind of hope they don't, because those guys were so obnoxious. Like, no thank you to that. All right, people, we're brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook, the greatest sports betting app of all time. See, it's not just about the daily promos, odd boosts, or the hundreds of ways to wager. It's about the immortal words of Caesar himself: you bet, you get with Caesars Rewards. Every bet you place on the app, no matter the outcome, earns towards exclusive perks at Caesars Rewards destinations everywhere. Hotel stays, concert tickets, bonuses, and more. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app, become a Caesars Rewards member today, and get more with every wager. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-522-4700. Lions, Tigers, and tailgates. Oh my, the college football season is always a great time of year. Besides the jerseys, the face paint, and the foam fingers, there's the food. And nothing gets you more fired up for game day than Eckrich smoked sausage. They're naturally hardwood smoked and have the perfect blend of spices. From buffalo sausage dip to sausage chili mac and cheese, Eckrich smoked sausage is a quick way to bring flavor to all your tailgate meals. Visit Eckrich.com for easy, one-of-a-kind sausage recipes. Eckrich, you do you. Time now for Hardwood Hustle. The NBA season kicked off last night. And let's see, the Celtics beat the 76ers 126-117. And the Warriors, shout out to us for staying up late to watch this game, beat the Lakers 123-109. What did you think of, look, these are two of the conference champions last year coming out looking like they could be conference champions yet again. I wouldn't be surprised if we see these two teams in the NBA final again. What did you think of last night's game? I thought that the Celtics were impressive, especially because there was all that offseason drama. We didn't know how they would look without their coach. They didn't seem to miss a beat to me, and I think this Philly team is actually pretty good as well, so that was impressive to me, and I thought that the Warriors just looked like they hadn't skipped a beat either. I mean, they looked phenomenal.
Yeah. The Celtics looked really good. Jason Tatum looked like he's going to take a step up again from where he was at last year.
Yeah.
He looked great last night, especially in the second half, right? He really stepped up when, they needed him the most, which is what you want your best player to do. And you said it. I think Philly, even though they lost, I think they looked good considering if you're going to get that type of production from James Harden, the Sixers are a real problem in the East if Harden's going to play like that. So, yeah, I think both of those teams looked really good. The Lakers, I mean, I really don't know what to expect from the Lakers, right? Just because I feel like I'm holding on to LeBron, the vintage LeBron. And
a lot of people are.
Yeah, as good as he plays, he doesn't elevate the team the same way. The LeBron thing is weird for me because he still puts up big numbers, but I feel like he doesn't elevate the team the same way as he does because, right, you're right. The Lakers, the talent around him is not great. It's, Westbrook as he's aging, Anthony Davis hurt all the time, but he's never, other than when he was with the Heat, he's never really had good teams around him, right? Like he won a championship with J.R. Smith as his third best option.
Yeah.
So that's where I think the LeBron has taken a step back and why the Lakers are struggling because he's not elevating those, B tier, C tier players to play at an elite level like he used to. So the Lakers confuse me and the Warriors look amazing as always, right? Jordan Poole coming off the bench. If he continues to come off the bench. How does a guy like that not win Sixth Man of the Year?
Yeah, no, I agree. And, it was interesting because we didn't know how it would be with Draymond Green and Jordan Poole and how that interacts. First of all, Draymond releasing the weird video of himself where it's like some kind of 30 for 30. That was strange. Like, just give it up and like coming in the green suit and just being I just kind of think he should just relax for a little bit and just be normal, let this pass and it will. But he's just doing too much. He's doing too much in defense of himself. He's doing too much with the outfits and coming up and trying to be boisterous. Like, to me, Draymond Green, as much as I appreciate him from a defensive perspective on the team, I'm kind of over him at this point. And I'm glad that Jordan Poole got paid. I think he's the future of the franchise, and I think he's going to ball out this year. And to your point, I think he's a good candidate for sixth man for sure.
Do you think Draymond finishes the season with the Warriors?
Yeah, I do. But I think this is his last season.
Okay.
You think they're going to try to off him during the season?
I don't know. There was that weird exchange between him and LeBron last night. I don't know if you saw where LeBron.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, like Draymond was like standing on the sideline and LeBron like ran over to him and was like whispering something in his ear.
Ooh,
and there's just,
secret.
LeBron is the ultimate GM, always recruiting players.
They don't need another defensive player. They need a shooter. You don't need Draymond Green. I'm sorry, Lakers. And that's the thing is LeBron's not a great GM. We've seen that. He's a great player, but he's not a great GM. He keeps trying to, recycle these guys of yesteryear, which, to be fair, Draymond Green is kind of a guy of yesteryear. He works with the Warriors. I don't know that he necessarily works other places. So, if that is the case, I would just roll my eyes. I don't think that Draymond wants to go to the Lakers at this point, but that's an interesting tidbit. But while we're on it, let's talk about the odds to win the title this year. The Warriors and the Celtics are tied as favorites at plus 575. Then you got the Clippers at plus 650. Nets and Bucks rounding out the top with plus 700. Who do you like to win the NBA title? And if you have a long shot, I will say long shots never win. But if you have one, let me know.
So I'm going to stick with the Nets. They're at plus 700 to win it all. I got them, during all that offseason drama where Kyrie was maybe going to leave and Durant was going to maybe leave. So I got a much better price than the plus 700. But I still think with Ben Simmons now, playing, if they finally got Ben Simmons on the court, with his, ball handling ability, the way he can distribute the ball, open the floor up for Kevin Durant, other shooters, Kyrie Irving. I just think it adds an element to that team that they were missing last year. They're kind of built to have those big three pieces, right? It used to be James Harden, then they traded him for Ben Simmons. And, the bottom half of the roster is a little weaker because they're so top heavy. So when one of those pieces is not playing, the roster is at a huge disadvantage. Yeah. So they get him back this year. I really like the Nets. I like what they're going to put on the floor. And I just think people forget how good Kevin Durant is.
Kenny, how many years has it been that the Nets have been the favorite and they can't go anywhere in the postseason? Is this year 3 or year 4? I think it's year 3.
Yeah, I think it's year 3. I think
at their time is the charm. Maybe
that's what they say. That's what they say.
I'm going for a repeat here with the Golden State Warriors at plus 575. And here's a tidbit from our friends at Caesar Sportsbook. Golden State leads the way with 17.1% of the tickets and 28% of the handle to win the NBA title at Caesars. The Warriors have racked up over twice as much money for the championship in the futures market than any other team. That includes one Louisiana bettor. This person laid $50,000 on the Warriors at plus 575. Look, the Celtics are second in tickets, and then I think there was something crazy that the Lakers at plus 1,800 had got the second most amount of money, which maybe that was, by the way, that was before last night, maybe after they saw them play. All right, I'm with the public on this one. I think the Warriors can repeat. They were the last ones to do it. I believe that was in 2018. They look amazing. They brought all of their starters back. Whatever drama happened in the offseason did not seem to affect them last night, and we didn't even see full minutes from everybody, from Clay and and by the way, Steph Curry looked amazing last night. So I'm here for it. Let's go. Let's go with the Warriors plus 575. I know it's chalky, but winners win. Kenny, winners win.
They do, but it's so hard to repeat in any professional sport.
Who did it last? Who did it last?
They did do it. They did do it last. I'll give you that. But when you have the curse of having all the tickets and all the money on you, we know how that story ends almost every single time.
Well,
Vegas
yeah,
always
because of the
wins.
Nets. Because of the Nets in the last couple of years.
Well, this year people are sleeping on them. They're sleeping. That's why it's their time.
All right, all right. I was listening to First Take this morning, and Stephen A. Smith also was very, very heavy on the Nets. All right, let's talk
Well, I
about
don't know how that makes
MVPs.
me feel.
Yeah, I know, a little uneasy probably.
That doesn't make me feel good.
All right, let's talk about MVP. Luka Doncic is the favorite, plus 390, followed by Giannis at plus 575. Then you got Embiid, Tatum, Durant, your guy, plus 1100, and then Jokic is at plus 1200. I guess nobody sees a three-peat from him. Nobody's really three-peated, at least not in a while. The last 2 years have been doubles. We had Jokic, the Joker, twice, and then of course it was Giannis before that in the last 2 years. Who do you like? Who do you like for MVP?
So this is like a tough bet, right? Because there's,
A lot.
all the guys you just named can literally win this. They're all so talented. I'm going to rock with Durant just simply on the value. And you said my guy Durant. I'm actually not even a big Kevin Durant fan. I don't know if people know that. I'm not a huge Durant fan. I just think he's late in the last few years. He's been so disrespected as far as
because of all the drama with the Nets and the Kyrie and the I feel
but as far as talent is concerned, he's him, Giannis, LeBron, they're the most talented players. They're 7, he's 6'11", 7 feet, whatever he is. There's not many people that can do what Kevin Durant does on the basketball court. And I think that's been forgotten over the last few years. So him at plus 1100, especially coming in with that chip on his shoulder, a lot of people writing them off. I think we'll get a big season out of him. At least I'm hoping, but I'm not mad at Giannis. Giannis is, I still think Giannis has another level he can go to that he hasn't even reached yet. How do you feel about Giannis?
I love Giannis. The Greek freak. And one, he's such a likable guy, and he's also such an incredible player on both sides of the ball. And I do think that the Bucks are a team that people sleep on as well. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call them a long shot because they're at plus 700, but they're in that mix too, certainly to win the title. They always are. I think they got a little bit injured last year, which kept them out of it. And maybe that's why they didn't get past the Celtics. But I think they're always going to be a threat, and I think Giannis is always going to be a threat. I kind of like Luka this year. He's the chalky one. Again, I'm going all chalk on this at plus 390. I just think that he was incredibly impressive last year in the playoffs. I don't think anyone thought that this Mavericks team would get past the Phoenix Suns, and he put the entire team on his back. He also averaged 32 points per game last year, 9.9 rebounds and 7 assists. We do know that MVPs have to score at least 25 points per game, so he gets that. The biggest thing for him, and it's kind of what you alluded to in Giannis, how far do the Mavericks go? Because in order, they got to be a number one seed, or they got to be winning a lot of games in order for him to be in this conversation. I do believe that Jokic last year, his team was like the 6th seed. So that was probably the lowest that an MVP candidate or winner has been. I kind of think it's Luka's year. I think he gets better and better every single year. And, we'll see how the Mavs do. But at plus 390, I like it.
Yeah, I don't hate that one at all, because as talented as Luka is, he's going to win an MVP at some point in his career. He has to. He hasn't won one yet. The guy is a magician out there. So he's going to win one in the next few years. I feel he has to win one at least, as good as he is. So I don't hate that one at all.
Time now for Capper's Corner. Let's preview tomorrow night's game between the Saints and the Cardinals. All right, well, the Saints money line plus 100, Cardinals minus 120. They're the favorites here. Very, very slim line. The line is 1.5, again, favoring the Cardinals. Low over under at 45.5. I got to tell you, we're only in week 7, and I'm already over Thursday night football. It's like I don't even want to watch any of these games. And we were talking about in the pre-show, how is the Bills and Chiefs not a primetime game? Or the Niners and Chiefs not a primetime? How do the Chiefs not get as many primetime games as the Broncos? I mean, I guess that's the only thing we could be happy about, is that there's no more Broncos games in primetime. But all right, here we are.
There's
Saints
one more, actually. They play the Chiefs.
They have another primetime game?
Yes, they play the Chiefs Sunday Night Football. I think like week 11 or 12, something like that.
Oh, Jesus. You know what? Just ruined my day. Why don't you, Kenny? All right, let's talk about this one, though. What do you like in this game? Is there anything to like?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things that I'm looking at here to take. So first, I'm going to go Alvin Kamara over catches. It's set at 4.5 catches on Caesars.
I love that.
Yeah,
I feel like running backs have been, receivers a little bit more with these short shovel passes this season than any other season. I love that.
yeah, 100%. And it's set at 4.5 catches, plus money too. It's plus 102 on Caesars Sportsbook, which is great value. His last 3 games, he's had 6 catches on 9 targets, 6 catches on 6 targets, 2 catches on 7 targets. So
Okay.
he's getting a ton of looks coming out of the backfield. The Arizona Cardinals are dead last in the NFL in regards to DVOA versus opposing running backs out of the backfield. So we have a very good pass catching running back going up against the worst defense at defending running backs out of the backfield. Last time they played a running back similar to Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, he had 9 catches for 81 yards. So I'm expecting a huge game from Kamara tomorrow, especially because the Cardinals are actually better at defending the run. So I think they're going to have to rely more on those little quick passes to use that as kind of their run game.
I love that play. And actually, I'm going to tail that with you. I'm going to take the under in this one, 44.5, just because the unders have been cashing at a ridiculous rate. They're 55, 38, and 1. They went 10 and 4 in week 6. The league average for points right now is 43.3 points per game. That's like the lowest it's been in a long time. Unders also 22 and 10 in divisional games this year. And the past 2 Thursday night contests produced just 40 points. New Orleans is injured all over the place. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Both Winston and Dalton listed as questionable. Arizona's had their offensive struggles. Until I see a primetime game that's going to get me over about 40 points, I'm just going to keep hammering the under. I can't take an over. I can't.
Yeah, especially the Thursday unders, right? We talked about it last week. Just the Thursday unders have been just an absolute cash cow over the last 2 seasons. So, yeah, I mean, under can't be mad at you. You're making money at this point. So
that's the thing. It's like, even if this game goes over, it's like the under is still going to be the play based on all of the trends this season in primetime games and on Thursday night games. People just can't seem to score. So until we start producing more offense in these primetime games, it's just more profitable to take the under. What's another play that you like for this game?
I want to ask you, why do you think, because I saw a article that this season has been the lowest scoring season. Yeah. In like I think like 20, 30 years. What do you think is the reason for that? Because the rules are kind of trending towards more offense, and this year is a total, 180.
I don't know. I mean, I just think there's really good defenses. I feel like a lot of these teams, the defense and a lot of defensive coordinators have been, promoted to head coaches. So maybe the game has just changed, but I feel like defense is king right now in the NFL, more so than these high. And, the last few years have been all about the flashy offenses and the crazy quarterbacks. And this year it's all about defense. I think it's just that simple. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, watching the Chargers game the other day, there was a ton of like little penalties called. I felt like Chargers had a million holding calls called against them.
You think it's the refs?
Possibly. I mean, it's a common. I don't know. I've been thinking about it, like what could really be causing it, and there's really not one thing that jumps out to me that it is caused such a drastic drop off from scoring from last season to this season. There's really nothing, no rule changes, nothing that jumps out. So I have no idea.
It's boring. It's boring though. We like to see flashier affairs. There's some teams where we're like, yes, that's this, like the Niners. We know that's going to be like a lower scoring defense game, or traditionally the Patriots, but the Broncos. I guess now I don't know. I can't even talk about the Broncos anymore. The fact that you just brought up that they have another primetime game has sent me into a tizzy. What's another play that you like for this game?
So these props actually haven't been released yet, but it's what I'm going to target just based on the trends and the way the defenses match up. I'm going to target DeAndre Hopkins.
Coming back.
Yards. Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins is back for this one, so I think we're going to see him get targeted a lot. The Saints have been giving up a ton of yards and catches to opposing number 1 wide receivers, and I'm also going to target AJ Green. The Saints are the number 1 team in the NFL in regards to DVOA versus opposing tight ends. So, I think they'll be able to pretty much take Zach Ertz out of the equation and no Hollywood Brown. He just got hurt. So I think Kyler Murray is going to be forced to rely on, DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, those guys. So I think I'm going to target their, catch props and yards props.
Okay, I actually like that a lot. And it'll be interesting. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury hasn't said how much usage Hopkins is going to get, but isn't Brown a little bit injured right now too? I think he's listed as questionable. So that makes sense to me. I'm looking at the Saints in the first half plus half a point in the first half. I kind of like him for the full game as well. I might mess around and do a little double result here. Haven't locked anything in yet, but I don't have any faith in the Cardinals following last Sunday's epic meltdown. Arizona just 9-17-1 straight up and 10-17 against the spread at home. At home in the Kingsbury era. They can't win at home. They've lost 8 straight home games. And like you said, he wouldn't commit to how much usage Hopkins is going to have. The Cardinals are averaging 16.5 drives per touchdown in the first half this season. That's the second worst drives per touchdown. However, they do get a little bit better in the second half, scoring on 50% of their drives in the fourth quarter, which is tied for 5th best in the NFL. I don't expect them to come out the gates doing a lot of stuff because they don't really do that, and I kind of don't expect them to win the whole game. So I definitely like the Saints in the first half, just that half point. And I'm toying with the full game and a double result here. I got no faith in the Cardinals.
Katie's going to mess around and find out.
Yeah.
I don't hate the first half play at all for the Saints, especially you talked, a little bit about how the Cardinals have struggled in the first half. They've only scored 3 points in the first quarter all season. 3 points was last game. Other than that, they've been shut out every first quarter. So they do start off very, very slow and sluggish. I'm going to actually take the Cardinals on the money line, though. I think getting DeAndre Hopkins back is going to be a huge life shot into that Cardinals offense. If you look at what happened to them at the tail end of last season when DeAndre Hopkins went down, and then how the offense has struggled at the beginning of this year while DeAndre Hopkins has been serving that suspension, they're 2 totally different teams. In the beginning of last season, the Cardinals offense was buzzing. Kyler Murray was a favorite to win MVP at some point, and DeAndre Hopkins goes down and the offense falls off a cliff. So I think getting him back is going to be a huge, weapon back for Kyler Murray. And if Andy Dalton starts for the Saints, how could you can't take the Saints. Andy Dalton is one of the worst primetime quarterbacks ever. He's 6-18 straight up in primetime games and 1-10 straight up in primetime games when he's an underdog. So fade Andy Dalton at any chance you get in primetime.
I mean, that's a good point. I will say I was dead wrong about Marquise Brown. He has a potentially season-ending foot injury. It's not questionable. He's definitely not playing. So I went, as soon as that came out of my mouth, I was like, wait, that's definitely not right. And it wasn't. So he's definitely not going to be playing. So that's good for Hopkins. But yes. All right. Well, do you have any other plays for this game? Those are the only 2 that I'm taking.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with those 3, the Kamara overcatches. I'm going to, like I said, DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green. I'm going to target their props. And then the Cardinals money line. I'll probably go a small bet on the Cardinals money line just because, we already talked how they do start slow. And let's say the Saints go up, 7-0 or something like that. I'll probably jump in on a live bet on the Cardinals as well.
Okay, I like that. So let's get into Mox Locks. My bets are the same. I'm taking the under 44.5 and I'm taking the Saints in the first half, but you've got some other bets for us.
Yes. I know you're going to like this one. Every time I'm on your show, normally I'm fading your Niners.
Fading the Niners, yes.
Yeah. But this time I'm going to rock with the Niners. And do they still play Candlestick Park behind you? Is that where they play?
No, they're at Levi Stadium. Okay. This is just the original.
That's what I thought.
Kizar was actually the original, but yes.
I love this spot for the 49ers. I talk about how Kyle Shanahan as a coach is very bad at covering the spread as a favorite. He's very good, though, when they're the underdogs. So he's good at rallying the troops, the rah-rah in the locker room, get them fired up. As well as the whole world is on the Chiefs here, coming off that loss to the Buffalo Bills. I'm seeing over 90% of the money and tickets on the Chiefs. Obviously, it's still early, so that could change. But I think this is a perfect get-right spot for a 49ers team with an elite defense, right? I think they'll be able to contain that Chiefs offense, sack Patrick Mahomes, force them into long third down situations. And Jimmy G as an underdog is amazing, like the best ever. Katie, I don't know if you knew this, but Jimmy G is 16-4 against the spread as an underdog, which makes him number 1 all-time out of any quarterback during the Super Bowl era.
Woo!
So
all time.
Yeah.
All time.
Guy, Jimmy G. Who knew? Number 1 at something, at least, right?
Number 1 in my heart.
There's been four different times where the 49ers have lost by double digits since Jimmy G's been the quarterback. In the following game, all 4 of those following games, they're 4-0 straight up and against the spread. Woo. So, you're getting an elite defense, a quarterback that's very good at managing the game, not letting things get away from him. I love the Niners in that spot with the spread, and I'll probably take them on the money line as well.
I like this play. I'm obviously, whenever it's your own team, you can get like a little bit of pessimistic. I love this play just because I do think this line is a little bit fishy, considering how much injuries are on the 49ers right now. And the defense, I thought the Falcons played really good last week. Our defense did not play well at all. Like almost couldn't stop anything, but that was, second and third string players. Hopefully we get Nick Bosa back, who I think that maybe he could have come back last week, but they were saving him for this game, plus with the turf and everything. So we get some more guys back on defense. Like you said, the unit is absolutely elite. I think they can do a good job at stopping Jimmy G, at stopping Patrick Mahomes. And this offense, Jimmy G was dealing. He was dealing last week, and I don't want to hear any slander about him and how he played in that game. He was throwing darts, and there were some dropped passes, some really, really dropped passes. That's going to get corrected this week. Why? But after the way that the Niners played last week, why is this line only 3? Do you know what I mean? So I agree with you, and I do think that it could change a little bit depending on how much money goes that way. The fact that it hasn't even changed already with 90% of the money on the Chiefs just tells you something. So I like it. Let's go Niners.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that it hasn't bumped up to that 3.5, I'm hoping it does. I don't see it dropping down to Chiefs minus 2.5. So I'm going to try and wait and see if it does tick up to the 3.5, because if it does, I'm jumping on it. As soon as it hits 3.5, I'm all in.
All right. Any other bets?
Yes. So we got one for today. We're going to go Phillies. Phillies on the money line. I think they're going to take it. Yeah, I think they're going to take a 2-0 lead in that series, commanding lead for the Phillies. We got Blake Snell, the lefty, pitching for the Padres. He's had 7 day starts. He's 1-4 in those day starts with a over 4 ERA. So Blake Snell doesn't love pitching during the day, probably in that heat, right? Aaron Nola, pitching for the Phillies on the other side, has 8 day starts. He's 4-1 in those day starts with a 2 ERA. So he's been very good in the daytime pitching for the Phillies, and he's been amazing as of late. The last few games, he's been carrying that team. Phillies also number 3 in MLB in regards to batting average versus left-handed pitching during the season. So I think they're in a great spot here. Blake Snell throws a fastball 55% of the time. The Phillies absolutely crush fastballs. Harper bats over 300 against fastballs. Alec Bohm bats over 300 against fastballs. So I just think this is a perfect situation for the Phillies here to really, jump out and take a big lead in this series.
I agree. And if the Padres go down 2 games and then that goes back to Philly, good night. I mean, this one is going to be over, almost before it started. So I love both of those plays. Kenny, thank you so much for coming on. This has been Moxie Bets presented by Caesars Sportsbook. Don't forget to follow us on social at Moxie Bets.